Have you ever felt stuck in a cycle of worry where one anxious thought leads to another, and before you know it, you are trapped? You're not alone. Anxiety today is more common than ever. And in this video, we'll talk about why it happens and more importantly, how to break free from the anxiety loop. Stay with me, this could be life changing. Now, before we dive in, I want to look at some numbers. Now, based on a study by the Lancet Psychiatry, the global anxiety rate saw a 25% increase during the pandemic alone. The National Institute of Mental Health reports that nearly 31% of adults experience an anxiety disorder at some point in their lives. And with that constant flood of information and social pressure that we experience today, these numbers are only rising. For those who are new to my channel, my name is Devupam and I'm a professional counselor, a mental health expert, a coach, cardiac survivor. So I have not only studied mental health, I have experienced it, lived with it, and I'm a runner. And through my journey and expertise, I have helped people with manage anxiety, stress, and different other life's challenge. So I'm a private practitioner, and today I want to help you break free from this anxiety loop. So what is anxiety loop? Now, anxiety has always been a survival tool for human being. Our ancestors, they needed it to stay alert for dangers. It was linked to cause and effect. If you see, right? If you saw a predator, your body responded with anxiety, and then which you pushed, take some action. So you ran, or you did some fight. But today there is not really no immediate action is required. So what do? Instead of that, we internalize it, leading to a loop where anxiety feeds on itself, right? And the biggest problem, we try to escape the anxiety rather than to resolve it, and that's where the problem starts. And if you see, the most important or most significant part of the problem is avoidance, right? So when we faced with anxiety, many of us take the path of avoidance, and while avoidance feels like this is great relief at that particular moment, but it only reinforces the anxiety over time. And in some common ways we generally do that, it could be scrolling endlessly through social media to distract ourselves, or we start binge watching Netflix series or in Prime, or whichever subscription you have to the OTT channels these days. There are people who respond differently. They start overworking so that they numb themselves to discomfort, right? Some people start procrastinating on tasks because they feel that's overwhelming, right? And some people go to extremes. They use alcohol, food, or any other coping mechanism they feel deemed fit for to suppress that anxiety. But what happens actually if we try to suppress the anxiety? We basically, on top of what happens, that we are constantly exposed, apart from the effort that we're putting for avoidance, we are constantly exposed to the stressor that are beyond our control. Social media, for example, is bombarded us with negativity, wars, there are disasters, economic crisis, unrealistic standard of living, right? Success. News headlines today are designed to provoke fear and urgency, clickbaits, right? So before ever we know it and understand it, we are carrying the weight of world's problems and feeling anxious about it, and we can't do anything to do it, right? Anything. I mean, how do you solve those problems? You cannot solve those problems, and that's where it feeds on you. So you start avoiding these anxiety loop to do that, and you are not taking any action. What happens? You feel more anxious about it, because now you are kind of putting things one after another. You're increasing the load, and at certain point of time it just breaks you. For example, if we see an example, let's take if you come across a disturbing news article, what happens? You'll feel anxious, but you can't do anything about it, of course. So what do? You keep reading, looking for more information, hoping that you'll feel control about it, but it will just fuel your anxiety. Or maybe you see some good post on Instagram, right? somebody's living the perfect life, and you suddenly feel, oh my god, I'm inadequate, right? You can start questioning your progress, and that leads to your self-doubt and worry. And some people start procrastinating things because of that, I'm a failure anyway, right? So this anxiety keeps coming on loop, on loop, on loop. And why anxiety feels now uncontrollable? Because the real problem is that we are not really controlling the anxiety. If you have not seen the video that I've already made, that anxiety is actually meant for motivation. I mean, if you see our system, this could be used very differently for motivation. However, what we are doing is we are actually making it worse by not acting on it, rather than pushing it aside or suppressing it or avoiding it. And the more we resist, the stronger it becomes. And the stronger it becomes, we get crushed, right, on the load of it. But what if instead of resisting, we learn to manage it? And that's what exactly we are going to do today, in the second part of it, where we will try and learn how do we manage those anxieties so that it does not get into the loop. If you are enjoying this, please go and subscribe this channel. It will help me produce more content for you. So what can we do? The first thing is physical activities, of course, and that's the best formula that you can ever get, right? So engage your body to regulate those stress hormones, right? So if you have, for example, if you gone through some social media, and you felt the rush of blood because of some negativity and bias and all that stuff that you're seeing, take a walk, right? Go for a walk, do some yoga, lift weights, right? Whichever suits you, right? Do some deep breathing, right? Try diaphragmatic breathing, or relaxed tension, or box breathing technique, or some box punching, whatever you feel like, right? Progressive muscle relaxations, some stretching in the chair, where you are sitting, anything would help you if you are doing some physical activity to release that, to counter that stress hormone. Now, the second thing that you could do is social engagement. Now, we generally are involved in social engagement through virtual world of social media and all that, and that's not really the real engagement that I'm talking about, but it's not very bad if you are using it properly. Let me tell you how it can be effective as well. You can connect with your family, friends, supportive conversations you can have. You can engage and just go and talk. I tell you one thing which helps me a lot is to talk crap with friends, which has no meaning at all. We just talk whatever comes to our mind, and that's something that friends would understand, right? A social group, it could be online, it could be offline, right? That may be something which is of your interest, that could help. You can go for some social services, go to your religious services, right? And do and practice your religion thing. That could also help, and help you calm down and help release the anxiety. There could be other strategies that could be used for emotional strategies. For example, you can train your mind to handle anxiety differently, right? You can have your cognitive reframing, which we talk about, right? Often reframing the entire episode that you are witnessing to balance the perspectives, right? Sorry, you can have gratitude practice. That's another way of handling your emotions. There could be limiting exposure and mindful consumptions as well, right? So that means how much social media you are exposing yourselves to, how much news consumptions you are doing. You could unfollow those accounts which are kind of triggering your anxiety, triggering comparison, and schedule detox in between, so that you can actually, dopamine detox is a great book on that as well, which talks about how you can actually detox yourself from social media and everything in between, right? So there could be other grounding techniques that you could use to relieve those anxiety and break that loop cycle, right? It could be, we spoke about 5 4 3 2 1, right? 5 things you can see, 4 things you can actually feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. You can do that. You can just sit on your comfy place, cozy place, wherever it is. Sip cup of tea, cup of coffee, listen to some music, right? Touch different textures. Just put yourself out there in the world, right? Go in garden, go to a park, just see the trees, feel, sit in the grass. There are multiple things that you can do actually to relieve those stress, because these will take you away from those stresses, right? Spend time on nature, go barefoot. If you are in a beach city, go and have a walk near the beaches. If you are not, if you're from a hilly area, go and walk on a mountain. If not, if you're like just like me, from a from somebody who is from plain area, you can just go to nature and walk and dream about going to a beach or mountain, whichever you like. But yeah, so that's how you actually go and control and manage your anxiety. Remember, the key is to break the anxiety loop, and recognizing that avoidance or overconsumption would only fuel this anxiety loop, and it'll just get bigger and bigger. So instead, we must actively close that loop, so that by addressing our triggers, by taking conscious breaks and engaging in actions that would ground us to the reality, and by that you can actually fight the anxiety that is taking a toll on you. If you found this video helpful, please go and like it, subscribe my channel for more content relating to managing stress, well-being, psychology in general. And if you're struggling with anxiety, I'm here to help you. You can book a free discovery call with me using the link in the description, and let's work together to break the cycle of anxiety and reclaim the control of your mind. See you in the next videos. Till then, stay strong, be happy and mindful. Bye bye.